I like to give
You've got
you
another
a
crack.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
1 o'clock is late converted to Bangor. Is that what you were wondering? Long story short, we had needed to stop for fuel. Pickup fuel came in an hour and a half late. I had to go to the sales to give an exam.
That's a Terminator request.
And they're on course a long time. Good morning, everyone. We'll call the General Administration Committee meeting to order at 9 o'clock. You all have, we have another perspective. I didn't see. Good to see you.
Okay.
We'll start with personal appeals. Anybody with a personal appeal, come to the podium.
John Donchis, 559 Minor Street. Again, just requesting, and maybe this could go on some agenda here for, seeing if you would please try to videotape these and put them on your websites also. These are where most of all the discussions start and go forward before they're recommended. And I think it would be good for people to be able to see that. These are odd times of the day that are very difficult to get to. And that would allow people to have formations before they come to regular council meetings. So they can formulate their ideas and questions. Please speak up again, since it isn't videotaped and you're not using any microphones to project. That's it. Thank you.
We'll move to...
Mike, is it the same answer we've been giving them for months now, that we're still waiting for the new system to be up and running?
We don't have the capacity of it.
Right. So the new system is completely implemented.
Then we can see.
And that's been the same answer for months now. So, I mean, we're not per se against doing it, we're just not able to do it right now.
We can't. Thank you.
So in the new year, you can start talking about it now and vote to maybe try to do that for when the system's ready to go.
We can consider doing it, yes. We can talk to council. Well, any chairperson who wants to do it can certainly consider doing it. It's up to the chairperson of each committee, if indeed they want to do that. We'll make a decision then. But until we have the capability to do it, it's not even worth talking about. We don't know what the capability is going to be. So after the software's in and everything's gone, we can start talking about it. Mr. Montero.
Yes.
If you could come up here, please. We're going to chat a little bit. Come on up. Good to see you, my friend. I'm sorry. Are there any other personal appeals? I didn't think there was anything else. Okay, thank you. Good morning. Mike, good to see you again. I'm Mike at the Emmaus Arts Commission.
Red Labor, Councilman?
Thanks for coming in this morning. New one, little one. How's the little one doing?
2 weeks, she's doing well, way better than the first. Sleeps very well.
Yeah, it's all relative, though, isn't it?
Oh, I think better than the first. We're receiving
well, thanks for indicating you're interested in being on the Arts Commission. You're really new to the neighborhood. How did you find out about the Arts Commission?
Your website, when I was checking out the area.
Okay.
It's a very friendly website. You just find everything, so that jumped out at me.
You came to the Arts Commission meeting.
Yes.
And after meeting everyone, you still wanted to be involved? We were pretty friendly. Mike, tell them a little bit about your background. I heard at the Arts Commission, like maybe everyone else would.
I've started playing the violin when I was 11 in New York City. I went off to LaGuardia High School of Music and Art, which is right behind Lincoln Center, where they made the musical Fame. That's where I went to high school. I spent my Saturdays at Manhattan School of Music for 2.5 years at their pre-college division, and then I did my bachelor's in music at Rutgers University. I worked for Pep Boys, strangely, for 5 years because it was a job of opportunity. It was music via working at a piano store, learning how to rebuild pianos. And then I started learning how to rebuild violins with a retired violin maker in Ballsville, New York. Opened up my shop in 2003. The economy took a downturn up north, found Emmaus, and that's really the short of it. Otherwise, we'd be here for quite a while.
Now, do you do other stringed instruments other than violins, or do you focus just on the violin?
Violin, violas, and cellos. If I have to, basses. They're different beasts. They're a lot bigger and require more room to work with.
What questions, since I've met Mike?
Yeah, I've met them. Well, I just want to thank you for coming to Emmaus with your business. I saw the articles in the paper and read them, and I'm excited to have your business in Emmaus. Just what ideas do you think that you could bring to the Arts Commission? Are you able to make the meetings, first of all? When do they meet?
Fourth Monday, yeah, Monday, 6 o'clock.
Just in general, you know, what you're excited about being on the commission for.
Well, honestly, the thing that stuck out to me the most was that there just was a commission, period. Up north, I was involved in politics up north, and there were a lot of things that we tried to implement, different committees, you know, and arts being one of them. And it was very, very difficult just to try to get volunteers and people to want to donate their time. So the fact that it was already established, you know, it was just completely floored. And then I started looking through the website. I said, wow, there's media, there's actual art, but there's no music. And I said, gosh, we need some music. And so I've already pitched the idea of having an instrumental competition for the whole Lehigh Valley for students through 12th grade. Something that I was a part of growing up, and I think all the students would benefit down here from having that experience of a light competition, like the shot competition and like pulls from, I think, outside of Lehigh Valley borders. This one would be specifically for Lehigh Valley residents.
I like that idea. With that being said, do you know that we also have a vacancy on the entertainment committee, which is specifically for music?
Well, not specifically.
Well,
Any
it
entertainment.
has. And they do the summer series and the.
I didn't see that. Is that on the website as well? I didn't see that.
But they're currently five
members.
members,
Five
and we only currently have two.
Three. Frank, Joe, and Showtime.
Or shall we still on? We have three. We could use some young blood on there, if you're interested. But just throwing it out there. You weren't aware of it?
Yeah,
If that's not on the website, I'd like to see that on the website.
I could have
That
missed
we-
it if possible, but I
But that's just another, I mean, both committees are geared towards the, one's more entertainment, one could be festivals or whatever. So,
Well, that sounds like another road to go down. You know, I know that the school district here, the elementary teacher especially, he wants to really get involved with the whole borough in terms of bringing his kids out. Playing, we just had him at the creamery for a
Okay.
business mixer, and it was great. Everyone loved it. He had about 14. They did some Christmas songs, and it was good. The kids get experience playing, and everyone's happy. And he actually likes to do more of that. So I think that might be a good thing for you to take a look.
Who is that?
Ryan Williams, the new elementary director. 7 schools, something like that.
That's all I have. And is there only currently one vacancy?
Just one vacancy. Mike, having sat in on a meeting, you know that we were kind of a committee, a loose committee structure where we have a number of events. People take on chairing an event, following it through, and help out. I know your background is music, but are you willing to be a team member and work on the other committees? I mean, it could be some kind of rainbow competition or the front porch art walk, or can you do those things also? You wouldn't be involved as a team member to do those too? Because that's a big part of it. Right now, we have no one with your musical background, and we really need the music side of things. We had Ariel Schultz there for a while, who kind of oversaw things and helped get into the school. She's even a school music teacher. But we really need somebody with the music side of things. And to guide us sometimes. And have you thought of this, or bringing this group in, and starting a connection and bringing groups out is what we should be doing. So I think
No, of course. I'm sure it definitely has more involvement than sitting around a table. I like an idea.
very events driven. And we're always looking for new events, and the one that might pitch to us would be the idea of the competition and so on. It sounds like a huge event to me. I mean, I walked out of that meeting thinking, wow, that's a lot to be done, but with only, 11 members on the commission, but we'd have to bring other people in, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, that would definitely be a
So,
subject.
but since you've done it, you know what the structure looks like. So that's certainly a big plus to it. So, what questions do you have of us, Mike, about the commission?
Actually, no. I thought it was pretty self-explanatory sitting in on the meeting, how they go about talking about the events. I'm sure there's going to be more to learn about subsequent events, but nothing that, if I do come up with a question, Terry or
You're pretty good with email?
oh.
We have one or two people. Don't check it more than about once a week, and we do a lot through email.
It's the only reason why I have a smartphone, otherwise I'd have one that just dials. You can't find me.
Okay, any?
Yeah, I don't have any questions. I mean, I think that a music perspective would be beneficial from what I've heard from members of the community.
Mike, what happens is we will make a decision here real quick. I think we kind of know what we're going to do. And then at Monday night's council meeting, it comes to full council, but we just recommend. Council would have to approve it Monday night, and then we go from there. Having been a former mayor, you really want to get involved in all this?
Well, this is the only thing I was permitted to do by my spouse. She said I was not allowed to run for mayor or council for at least 2 years. I was on I'm on a short leash on that.
With another little one at
But
home.
you know what,
I'm
it's
sure.
fine, because a new business and a new daughter, it's quite a demanding job to do the right way, especially being part-time.
Yeah, I agree with a new
I'm sure
business.
you all know.
Growing a new business in this economy is going to take some time to do it. So
Yeah.
I certainly understand that. So get your feet wet here, do
That's
some
it.
work with us.
It's just that makes sense.
Okay, are there any other questions?
I'll get this out of the way right
Let's
away.
just do it.
Make a motion to appoint Michael Montero to the Arts Commission.
Second that?
I don't know what the term is, whatever the
With
term
the
is.
term,
February 1st, 2015.
So it's wow. Thought it was a problem. Just kidding.
2, 1.
You're in for life now.
And normally they're, what, a 5-year term, I think? Well, you're actually filling a vacancy that we had, so this will complete that vacancy, and then you'll be on for a reappointment after that, and to a full time. If you do really well, we'll let you do it for 5 years. No, I agree.
I told you, you're here for life.
Discussion? All those in favor? 3 ayes, so you will be recommended to council. Well, thanks for coming in.
What time is your borough council?
7 o'clock. 7 o'clock, Monday. Nice to meet you, right in here.
And Mike, with that being said about the entertainment committee, you do not have that on here.
I just noticed that, thank you.
And there's 2 vacancies.
Thanks, Richard.
You're welcome.
And Craig, can you check to see if that entertainment, there's 2 vacancies are on that website? Because they're not listed here.
No, I don't know. And I would presume, yeah, they would come under GA, I would think, right?
Parks and Rec.
The Parks and Park and Rec, so that's why I don't have the one here. I only have the ones that I carry.
It's-
And it's just basically something to do with Parks and Rec, so.
It's actually not.
Well,
It's-
it is.
That's
we're
only the
doing-
reason, probably the only reason is because it's part of the commission.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
It's actually on here, on Kathy's main sheet there, it does show 2.
Yeah, we,
So that's why it's
have a liaison.
Okay, that's what it is.
Is the,
Okay, Shade Tree Commission, all of you, how about bringing some chairs up, let's just chat up here, we'll just break for that rather than do this personnel.
Yeah.
Then we do the reappointments and so on. So why don't you come up here and let's talk about my idea.
Yeah, the other thing is.
I think we are adjourned.
I think there's actually too many votes.
Reds, always a pleasure. You've been busy the last few weeks, huh? Good Christmas for Reds.
Yeah, no, it's sort of a two-edged sword, but yeah, it's good for business. And then when
You know,
the negative side to it.
coming in this morning. Getting going here in the cold and all. And, long story short, I threw an idea out a week or two ago, and just you were the experts on trees. John oversees. John had, and part of this is because I saw John scurrying around the Lehigh Valley looking for a tree for the triangle. I thought, well, there's got to be a better way to do this. And I thought, well, what if we had our growing somewhere? Actually, I know it's not as easy as that. Okay, and that's why I thought I'd bring you in, talk about it. If this is feasible, great. If it's not, well, at least we explored it.
Right.
So, I don't know how we want. My idea was, can we put some trees in now that, in the long run, whatever that's going to be, if it's not too far out, that we'd be harvesting our own trees, and then we're guaranteed to have one down there, so that we know it's nice and nice. But what's it going to take to get to something? John has looked everywhere, and so I know there aren't that many really perfect trees anymore. I mean, they're
It's a combination of a lot of things. I mean, a lot of people have trees that they want to donate. They want to get rid of them. Well, there's several things that I take into consideration. Some of them are just strictly eyesores. They want to get rid of them because they'll spoil them on their property. They want us to come in and cut them down because they don't want to pay somebody else to come in and cut them down. Some of these trees are 60, 70 foot tall. We're public works people. We don't have the access to a crane to come in and fall a tree. You're not really cutting a tree down. You're actually lifting the tree up. And you already saw Rockefeller Center, how they do their tree. They go out there with a crane, they cut the tree down, they bring it in, they ship it in. We don't have the capability to do that. We don't have the equipment to do that, and we don't have the manpower to do it. Our limits are probably the tree that we had last year, which we were lucky to get. Reverend Forrester gave us that tree. It was easy access. We could get in, we got out. Minimum damage to property. We didn't have to. I think we dug the stump out and planted grass, and that was off the Keystone. So there's a lot of things that have to be taken into consideration that a lot of the residents don't. They just see, I have a tree, I want you to have it. What if the tree falls on my house? What if the tree knocks down my power lines? What if the tree, you're going to come dig the root out? You're going to regrade my yard, you're going to do all this. It's just, there are very few perfect trees, let alone perfect situations that we can go in and get a tree. So from that standpoint, that's where we are. The Public Works Department, we're not arborists, we're not horticulturists, we don't grow trees. I wouldn't, begin to even tell you what's the perfect tree to plant, how long it's going to take. Reg would probably be able to guide everybody better on that situation, but from our standpoint, getting a tree, finding it, getting it in place. Thank God we have Schultz and Niley who come in and donate their time to bring a crane in. To pay somebody to bring a crane in for 3 hours, it would cost us a fortune. And it's the economy that we're in right now. I felt bad calling, just saying, hey, can you come donate your time? In the past, he's had every single crane that he's had, which I think he has 4 or 5, have been out on projects. When I called him on the middle of November, he said, I have every crane piece of equipment that I have is in the shop. He said, I have no work. So here we are asking somebody to donate their time, donate their equipment. And so that's kind of where we are.
okay. So the situation is that when we reconfigured the triangle, we said we would put a tree up there. And we had people who said, oh yeah, we'll give you trees. And I certainly didn't think that we'd have a problem with it, but apparently we did. So, Reg, what do you, on the face of it, what do you think of this idea of growing our own? Is there any viability of this, or is it something we just say, no, we're out here, just make this a short conversation?
Well, certainly it has some possibilities. It's just there are a lot of aspects to getting that going. I mean, where, who, property that you would have to do this. Who would actually? I mean, there's a fair amount that goes with. I mean, I'm not in the Christmas tree business. I mean, more than I probably know about that actual aspect of raising Christmas trees, but I do know, there's maintenance involved with that, whether it's insect fungal issues, spraying, things like that you have to do, annual location to do it. When you mentioned that, I was just trying to think of, where locally, and how would you sort of float that out to people to see if there was either farmland or, I know, what's his name, Floyd Kime.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so.
Trees, and his son also, now, he's getting up there, and I know he's not gonna wanna stay, he's not gonna be in that business for too much longer. But whether or not that there's anything there that's, a possibility, or if he's just gonna pass it on to, I know his son isn't interested, but he may have a nephew that might be, but if not, then that's one possibility. But, who would actually be able to oversee something like this? One individual that's doing that, and whether that would be someone that's in public works that gets trained. I mean, there is that aspect. I mean, somebody could go to, some of the local Christmas tree growers, do it and just say, okay, here's what we want to do. So like, they're doing with farming now, with CSAs and all stuff, training new farmers. I'm imagining there'd be some possibility with that, but there's certainly a lot of things to look into, and property and so forth. And I don't know enough local, I've been here long enough to have a lot of local contacts with them.
Actually, my thinking when I thought it was down by the community garden, next to the railroad tracks, that big patch of ground we have down there, is why I go with it. But that's, John's gonna do the landscape better than I do. That's what came to my mind. The compost pile is one for property.
Well, yeah, that's one of the first things, and then the next would be whether.
I thought of one other location, or plot, I don't actually know what it looks like, can't picture it, but the plot behind Pioneer Glass. I don't know how many trees I could hold, but that's something that's just been sitting idle forever.
Do either of you two know any more about Christmas trees and growing trees at all, or?
No.
No.
Where you could, get trees, starter trees, rather than, something other than just saplings that are.
My brother actually works on the tree farm, and they have a nursery for regular trees, but they also have Christmas trees. I can ask and see what they have available for sale there, what they go for, just get an idea, what does a X amount of foot tree cost to plant,
Well,
you see them at Shantz, they sell fresh trees too. I mean, you can see what they go retail, but.
I mean, personally, I think that, from a borough standpoint, I think it's something that is above and beyond what we can do and maybe should do, but, I possibly thought maybe if we like the idea and wanted to pursue it, maybe something like the Wildlands Conservancy up on their new Far Road property there, that if we could get them involved, where they would actually be taking care of it, maybe we made it a project that kids came and worked on, then trees continually growing. Or I was also thinking if they designated some, they're definitely big time environmentalists. So they,
they
want
would be,
sustainability.
they would be good people to at least actually even have this meeting, or to have,
Yeah.
to bring it, because he certainly knows.
Yeah.
And that's what you need more of. My knowledge really stops at not at the growing and raising things like that, for some elements that are in a special area, but he would certainly get it, and of course his wife,
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah, I think she's one of the founders, right?
How long do you think it takes to, let's say we've got some 6-footers, how long you need to get into what, 24, 25, 26?
The perfect size for us, probably to manage and handle, is probably around 25 foot. 30 foot's a little bit high for us.
Could 20, is 20 doable?
The problem that we have is there's a sleeve in the ground that we have to get at least 6 foot of trunk into the tree, into the ground. So you're looking at 25-foot tree, you're putting at least 5 foot in, it's a 20-foot tree. 30-foot tree.
You're trimming to get it
You're trimming to
down the
get, yeah, so you're gonna lose that first 5 foot to get it in the hole anyway, so. I think the one that we had last year was probably, someone else said that was probably around 30 feet. So, finishing in place was probably around 25.
long-term solutions, which we have to work on, but short-term solutions too. I have a thought. I don't know if we can canvas like area tree farms or nurseries where maybe somebody would be willing to donate trees that they have on their properties, and in lieu of payment, maybe we could give them free advertising. I mean, we did that with the fountain. That fountain was donated, and they have a little placard there, you know, with their name on it. Maybe there'd be some nursery willing to give up a 30-foot Christmas tree that's on their property. No, they may not be growing them for their business, but they may have them on their properties. That's what I'm saying.
But the problem is, again, like Tranquility and the one out there on Iron, when I had talked to them 2 years ago, they have field trees that are in there, but nothing's maintained, so they're either overgrown or they're in dire, need of repair, or whatever, not in great shape. Access to them is also a problem. I mean, basically, most of the tree farms that you have, they have them in their rows, and, they're growing them to 70 foot, and it's basically, they're cutting them down, they're out there every day, like I was saying, do maintenance on them yearly. You may find one, but,
It was just an
I mean,
idea.
yeah, I mean,
No, it's a good idea.
like I had said to Mike, I said, no matter what we do today, if we plant trees today, tomorrow, whatever, it's not gonna help us out what we need next year or the next 10 years. So,
Yeah, I would say I mean, I don't know, growing trees, I know if you have, just put them in, you don't fuss with them every year and just let them grow, as opposed to, obviously if you're sharing and you're doing things, it's taking a little longer, really, because to get the spread on the height will still be, you're certainly 10, 15 years away, even with, 6 foot.
One of the thoughts was actually plant a tree on the triangle again in the little grass plot, so that we would have a permanent tree there. Now, I know there's pros and cons, and there's people for and against that. I mean, I was for that from the get-go. Didn't work out that way, but it's still an option. We have that plot there of that circle grass area where the tree currently goes.
Why were
Now,
people against it?
when I brought it up, I said, why don't we cut that tree down and replace it with another tree? And the thoughts were that it wanted to be used as a community center, a focal point for events downtown, and the tree would kind of get in the way. I mean, if you can picture how big that was, it took up maybe a third of the triangle. And that's the thoughts. But that tree got overgrown and it wasn't, maintained. Some say it got hit by lightning at some point. I don't know.
it was actually it actually spawned off, there was 2 trees growing out of the shrub, out of the thing. So.
Yeah, so, I mean, I would support that. I don't know what kind of support there is. And that's still that's not long-term, because whatever you plant, it's gonna be what? Maybe you can get a 10-footer or something like that. But that's gonna be years till it gets to the point where we want it. But then we'll have it for 10, 15, how long was that tree there? Yeah. So maybe we'll have it 30 years, because you only wanted to get to a certain size and then maybe plant another one. But in the meantime, you're only gonna have a little tree there in these ceremonies. That's the downside.
Well, I think the other downside, though, is taking away space the other 46 weeks of the year.
Right.
That we have a bench, and I think that was one of the
That was
issues.
the whole, with the design, because I was in
Yeah.
on that, involved in the design ideas, and it's good from that standpoint, but it really limited what you could do with that space and with so much of the rest of the year, especially when you get a decent sized tree. Even though that was scraggly, it was a good size, and that's what you want, is a size like that, even, so it really limits your use.
With that grass area, do we currently have flowers planted there, or is it strictly grass now? I know it originally had flowers, and it's all grass now. They just come up because they're in the grass from the original planting, right, but they're coming up in the grass. Well, because if it originally was planted flowers, people weren't walking in there anyhow. So, I mean, a Christmas tree would be no different if they had flowers and that it was the original intent. You're not gonna walk in that.
The only problem is whatever you planted, you can't plant it in the area where the current tree is. There's too much excavation that would have to be required. I think the pit that is actually in there is like 20 foot down. It's actually filled with concrete, and it's so So we would have
The tree pit?
Yeah.
Oh, it's huge. The well.
well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't
It would
aware
have-
of that.
yeah,
I mean,
so-
that's not what I didn't, oh, 8 feet down? It's crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, there's two other thoughts. One is an artificial tree, which is about $15,000.
$15,000 now. Like wait till February, I think he said drops down to.
I thought it was 15 at half price.
No, it was 15
Full
now.
price.
Full price, I think it drops down to like 6 or 7.
Where was this? Where was it?
Riley's.
What size?
20,
Yeah.
I think it was a 25 footer.
by 4, 25-footer artificial,
Wow.
on about $8,000. I was thinking the 15 was the half price.
Now, Mike, would your intention be to have that every year, or only as a backup for when we can't get the fresh tree?
I'd say every year. John spends way too
Because we
much time.
spent that money on the tree well.
Yeah. I mean, that's an option. Another option, that will not be as popular, but I'll throw it out there, is, even though we've done it on the Triangle, what if we did it down at the library? And we started a tree down there and moved the ceremony down to the library, and we have better parking, it's safer, certainly to do it there. It certainly is a change in mindset, but we could start a tree there and have a tree for the community. We never had, and we have to start small, and be a little tree, but that, we have to change the tradition.
We actually have a big tree on the back side of the library.
Yeah.
We probably wouldn't have enough lights currently to do anything with it. I know you're kicking around, I mean, we had discussed.
thinking, just
Yeah, no, I know we had discussed an artificial tree. The artificial trees come as panels, so it's a steel frame that gets built, and then the panels get hung on top of it, and actually the panels they're all pre-lit. So basically all the lights that we currently have and all the bulbs and everything else could be done on another tree somewhere else. So the library was the option. We would probably have maybe enough decorations, not enough lights to do that, but an artificial tree would come pre-lit with everything on it.
Now, Mike, you say that putting up a fresh tree takes a lot of time, but doesn't assembling a artificial tree take time also?
Well, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about John's time trying to find a tree.
Trying to locate it. Well, I don't think that should be their responsibility now, so.
You know, he's just all over it, and I called him, I had him go out to George Colt's place.
No, I understand that, but I said originally that I don't think it should be their responsibility anyhow. It should be the council's responsibility to find a tree, but.
Well, those are the ideas, so, what do you think? Craig?
Yeah, I think when it comes to the growing our own trees, actually there's two math problems involved. One is a geometry problem, which is when you design on the space, you can't plan what the ceiling of the tree form because you have to quit. And so once you get that, you gotta figure out how many trees you can actually plant in space. I'm thinking like here you talk about.
No, I know, that's what I'm saying, it may only be 4 trees.
Say you can fit 10, okay? But say it takes 20 years to grow the trees. Well, and then if you factor, this is the word problem then, factor in 80% success rate. I think you have to factor in that there'd be some failure. So factor in 80% success rate, you're gonna get 8 trees in 20 years. But then, that's not gonna give you a tree every year. Because you're gonna use up those 8 trees in the first 8 years, and you don't have any other trees. 3 trees after the 8
You
years.
almost have to stagger them
Oh,
throughout the borough at
If
different years.
you do look at it, make sure you do that, those 2 math problems.
Yeah, I thought it would stagger.
Well, second, the size that you put them in too, I mean.
Exactly.
You can sort of get 10-foot, start with 10-foot trees and they are available, that's not outrageous. You get much bigger than that, it's, you know, really because if you go right time of year and so forth with commercials, 10-footers you can get. And then you have different sizes to start out with, but yeah, you're right. So the one from the 3rd year kicks the bucket and then you're like,
Right. And John, you guys actually kind of added up a rough estimate of the cost that we had associated with this tree this year.
Right.
Do you recall what that was?
I mean, I don't have, hard numbers on it. I mean, basically, hour-wise, I think just cutting the tree down, cut it down into the week before Thanksgiving. There's 4 guys down there for 3 days, getting it, falling it. Then we had Rick was down there the day by himself, just prepping the trunk of the tree. guys moving it. We had 5 guys on the triangle. We had, all in all, it's probably 70-some hours, 80 hours, 8 man hours, if not more.
That doesn't include your time or Jeff's.
Including my time, and then, I'd say closer to 500-some hours, man out. Then it's 2.5 days to decorate it. You gotta take the tree down. That's another 2 days just to take the tree down.
$3,000, between $3,000 and $4,000?
Probably around 4,000 for just us, and then throw in the $2,000 that would cost us to hire somebody with a crane to bring it.
Jeff told us the public works is about 6,000.
Yes, but
He told us the public works is about 6.
And I think that was with everything, we had figured in what it would have cost to hire somebody to bring the crane.
You pay off an artificial
I was
one
gonna
about a
say,
year.
making that artificial number.
Yeah.
Cost of
And I'll bring this up because maybe they're not aware of it. I had a philosophical difference when we were doing the original triangle plan. And I said, my concern was, would they be able to get a tree every year? And I said that, and this council promised the community that they would have a live Christmas tree every year, and that was said by several people. And I brought up this point that I thought maybe it would be a challenge to find a tree down the road. I didn't think it would be this soon, but it's happening. So that promise was made to the community, so I wouldn't support an artificial tree just on that ground alone. If that promise wasn't made, then I would have a different opinion. Well, I think our word's more important than saving money.
So,
Remember, you should say-
float that out, but I mean, things change. I mean, economy certainly changed since that happened, and that,
Then they should never said that we'll have a fresh Christmas tree every year.
Well, we could put one out there, it might just not be 10 feet tall.
I don't have a problem with that. Other people obviously will.
I guess for the sake of conversation about the artificial tree, storage-wise, we have, I'm assuming it's probably a pretty big storage area, or does it collapse down to a point that?
It's actually individual sections that are probably, 4 foot by maybe 4 foot high. It's a frame, but then on top of the frame, you got these panels that hang. When I talked to Rick from Riley's, he threw out a bunch of locations. Chris Kindlemore has them. Basically, any of the Lehigh Valley malls.
Oh, yeah,
malls,
I
those are
see
the
what
ones
you're
you've
saying.
seen. I really didn't talk to him about storage because it was just, basically, I just wanted to go out and get the pricing for Mike and you guys just to see what that was. I don't know what we would need for storage wise and, because of that nature.
I mean, they're obviously manageable, because that's what they do. I mean,
Right.
these places have.
Yeah, I mean,
Storage go up all the time.
Right, and I couldn't even tell you how
So-
long it takes to put it up, but from what, the brief conversation I had, it's not long.
Brent, and just thinking about your comments there, you're right, we did promise. And we did that in good faith. I mean, we were told, oh, yeah, we have these trees, and I'll take the blame. Maybe we should go further into that and realize, or have John look at what do we actually have as far as possible stock in the community. I thought we would have, I really did. But it's not there. And the question is, what do we do? What do we do moving forward here? Is the artificial in the long run saves us a lot of money. Time out, I think it might be safer, certainly safer for the guys, put that up than be not helping fell a tree somewhere in the community park. But I understand what you're saying, and I respect it. I think we'll have to float it out there and see what people say, and if they're willing to deal with smaller trees each year, maybe we can certainly do that. I'm just not sure which way to go, but we need to make a decision, a long-term decision what we're going to do here. I think we could get people to donate money if we did it properly to buy the artificial. I don't think tax money should be involved.
So let me ask you this. What are the largest Christmas trees available for cutting on Christmas tree farms? 15? No, I'm asking because, you see some of these mansions that have and they can bring them in. They're capable of doing it, and you see it in the movies and stuff.
What's the ceiling, 12 feet?
What is the largest?
Problem.
15-foot maybe?
You called around, like, the last year, the year before, you called a bunch of trees.
Yeah, there was up Bloomsburg, things of that nature, nothing really relative.
Not for donation, I'm looking at, if we were actually to purchase one,
Oh, I'm sure.
a 15-footer, or what would they actually, what are the largest ones that sell? And what would they go for, $200?
You could probably, I'm not, I'm not 100% sure, but I mean, like I said, I talked to this guy out in Bloomsburg, had him. He had 30 footers, he had 20 footers, but again,
Well, that's
I ain't gonna get him in.
No,
You know?
no, I'm talking locally, so, I mean,
I-
15, 18 footers are available, you think, and
Not, you may find one or two somewhere, but it'd be a lot. I mean, like I said, anybody that's local, all they're doing is growing 8-foot trees and that's it, you know?
all right, well.
And you
I
may
was gonna say
find
it, but
something.
I don't have time.
you know.
But the problem you have is by the time they start getting this, Floyd will tell you this too, by the time they get to a certain height, there aren't enough buyers out there, not enough of a market out there, they wanna get rid of them. You know, so they start like marking the price way down and, well, just get rid of them.
My point is though, I mean, maybe we spend $300 to purchase a 15 to 18 foot tree and just scale it down. And, you know, that's more manageable as far as labor costs. Decorations, you know, we're not gonna be able to get as much on it, but the ceremony and the spirit of the town and everything can still continue. It's just not this big tree that we traditionally had, but we're still holding to having a fresh Christmas tree. I don't know, I don't know what's out there. The answer would be, is it available or not, and what does it cost? If it's $300-400, and you're spending $6,000 in labor, but they can do that in one day, there's a net gain.
And
there.
that's certainly another option, is just say, you know what, for the
Scale it
community,
down.
and I agree with you, I think the tradition and what we do is more important than the tree itself.
I
And
do.
I think we start to focus on, they've got to have this perfect tree, and to me, it's getting together as a community and doing the singing and Santa, that's what's important, to me, more than having a 30-foot tree.
Is it possible to reach out to the businesses that are local and what you said, what you just said, once it gets to a certain point, they want to just cut them down? Is it possible to reach out to them and let them know that the borough's looking for it? So if you get a tree that's getting to 10, 12, 15 feet, don't cut it down, you know, let us know.
Well, I certainly think, yeah, I think that's something that should be explored.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's no reason not to at least look at it. But, you know, and you may get a good, I mean, normally that price is, it's cheap, but for it's $700, but.
I mean, you just like
But you
15
might,
footer,
but
or-
again, you know, who knows, maybe if they're looking to get rid of them because they're not gonna sell them otherwise, but yeah, check.
I'm just thinking 15 to 20 foot, just to scale it down.
15, 20
And
foot.
the labor costs will come down.
Would be well manageable for us.
So
The
maybe
25, 30 footers actually pushed a little bit. You know, we don't have the equipment to do it. I mean, probably if we got a 15 footer, we could probably do it without borrowing, you know, having somebody donate the crane time, you know, it's just, we could probably do that ourselves.
So scaled down tree maybe might be another option.
Okay, actually, that's what I've done. I mean, what do you think, Brett? You think the community would accept it and would talk about it in council and say, look, this is what we have to do?
If we explain the
We find
situation and say how much it costs, labor cost is $6,000, and explain the hardship of actually finding a tree that's suitable. I mean, look, if we got a tree this year, and you heard the complaints, I mean, I think it looks, to me, a Christmas tree, any Christmas tree is beautiful, and even Charlie Brown, because what it symbolizes is what it means to me, the symbol. But I think there obviously is going to be people that are going to be upset, but I think most people will be happy that there's a fresh tree and that the tradition carries on as far as the ceremony. So I think after a year or two, it would be the norm.
That becomes the norm.
So,
Yeah.
but based on this, what we said, I mean, you think that then an artificial tree could be fine too?
No, because of the promise. I mean, I won't ever vote for.
But if we
an
explain
artificial
it,
Christmas tree
and we
because of our.
recognize that we're saving money. I mean, everything you said just kind of contradicts.
I mean, no, then,
Don't like artificial.
No? Yeah, I mean, I can care less.
I don't think
Not
this,
Christmas.
Wes, I don't
It's
think they're
symbolic.
saying, because one we promised and the other one we didn't. We didn't promise we would always have a 30-foot Christmas tree. At least I don't think so. I think the promise was we will always
have
have a
it.
live Christmas tree, a real Christmas tree.
Yeah.
I think that was the promise made. And if it's scaled down, so be it.
I think by scaling it down, we're probably gonna find better suited trees,
Oh, yeah.
more manageable trees, and obviously they're gonna definitely look a lot better, I think, than a 40 foot or anything.
I would think that we'll hear it for
mean, first thing just that came to say was that was the ugliest tree. And
Yeah,
that we've heard from the community.
But
I mean, it's a tree, I agree with Brendan, it's a tree, I don't.
Have people responded negatively?
There's always a couple.
Yeah, okay, just a couple, but.
Oh, yeah.
It's a different tree too. What's the species of that?
Green?
I
It's a
could-
green one?
I didn't
It's more
look up-
open.
I didn't look up
It's more
photos.
open than other trees.
Yeah.
When you drive
Yeah.
by, it's on the open.
I think,
I think it looks fine,
I
but.
think it looks great.
My brother, who doesn't
Really?
even live anymore, has just drove through, he came up to my house the other night and drove through when the lights were on, and he was on the phone with me, which he shouldn't have, but he was. And he said, wow, he says, your Christmas tree looks great. So
Yeah.
there's
I-
a.
Especially when it's
heard a
lit, I
lot.
think it looks.
Yeah, when it's lit, it looks great. I think it comes down to our community spoiled. We have a beautiful Christmas tree every year. This year it's a little less than what it's been in the past, but for somebody driving through town, like your brother, it is beautiful because most towns don't have something like that. So,
You need to get over it.
Yeah.
Here's what I have as options that I've heard, just to run through. Smaller 15 to 8 foot tree instead of 25 to 30. An artificial tree, 25 foot, approximately $8,000. Plant a tree on the triangle. Move to the library, plant trees to cultivate for the future. Those are the options that I think I heard here this morning. Let me ask this, just to try and wrap this up here. And we don't have to make a decision yet, obviously, and council's going to need to talk about it. This is important, this is something for our community. John, can you get me a list of places that I could contact about the idea of a smaller tree of 15? If you give me the list, I will do it after the holidays. I'll go or call and talk to see, and see if there are such trees out there. If you give me the list, I'll take care of it from there. I don't want you to do whatever you want to talk about. I'll do it. And I can bring that back, we can talk about it. I did have someone tell me about a tree farm outside the borough that was a relative who planted trees that were never cut down. And I want to explore that option too, and see if that's anything valuable. I haven't seen it, so we'll go from there. But I'll take it from there then. From that.
if I might add, the scaled down version that I mentioned, 15 and 20 feet, also, maybe in lieu of paying, we say we give you free advertising and it doesn't cost the borough anything, and say, we'll come cut it down.
Sure.
And in lieu of that, they get maybe advertising on the website for a month, or we put a placard up for them. And the exchange of that might work out.
Well, there's a good discussion, and I think we have some options. We can talk about what they are and see what we can do. And this may be one of those times with the community where a change needs to be made and we need to go in a different direction. And I respect what you're saying about the live tree, and we did promise that. But I think under circumstance, we didn't know what we were getting into. Okay, anything else about this?
I know that my personal opinion on the whole thing, as far as, I think the least likely anyway, whether this is the grow item.
Probably, yeah.
I think the efficacy of that is just.
Well, if nothing else, throwing that out there generated some other options as well.
Yeah.
And I think we'll come up with something that's going to work for the community, and we need to think long-term, next 10, 20, 30, 40 years. And I'm not sure which of these will work, but we'll come to some.
3 years, something.
So I thank all of you for coming in today. I really do. I appreciate it.
If I come across, I may think of other places where you might look and,
Okay.
you haven't, and I'll
Well, just email me.
email you.
Email me, or anybody thinks of some place, or you see some tree farm out wherever, somewhat close by, that you think might have these, 15 to 20 footers, email me and let me know. I will follow up and I will check on them and see. Okay?
If we wait too long though, if you wait till next year to contact them, they may be closed, so I don't know how you're gonna do that, because there's a time period where they don't do business.
That's true.
Two of them that I've
Seasonal.
dealt with over the years don't open until November, so.
Okay, so
That's
as soon as you
an
have them,
issue as well.
you're right, now is the time to go see them before December 26th, I understand. Okay, we're good? All right, thank you, thanks for coming in, thank you.
Well, do we have another thing for the,
Before they go,
Oh.
We-
state tree proposal?
We can let John go.
Yeah,
Make sure we-
yeah.
Thanks, John.
You're right, while we have them here, number 6, Shade Tree Fund Proposal Discussion, Ordinance Draft by Craig, status. Where are we with this?
You guys guys still wanna do that, the shade tree fund?
Yeah.
I think it was left to you guys to try to get do that.
Well, we, at this point, have.
Yeah, we
established
have that one
tree.
fund, the one that the money that I had donated was in that separate fund, because there are two actual funds, one of which the borough puts the designated amount every year, and then the other.
And the other meaning?
The money I had donated, it was kind of sitting out there from my subdivision, and we put it in there to, just a discretionary fund. If something comes up, it was gonna be a fund in which we could, because if I understand correctly, the one that the borough contributes to, it's use it or lose it at the end of the year.
Is that in the new budget?
$300 for the shade tree commission.
What about the line item she's talking about?
That's the same one.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said it was two.
We have a separate,
Well, let me back up. Okay. There's an actual account. They just, people get confused about this. They get confused between what a bank account is and what a line item in the budget is. And they have a bank account that she's talking about, and then there's a $300 line item in the budget that the borough then uses to contribute to the shade tree commission for the bank account. What I think you talked about in the past was to fund the account, that in the event that the shade tree commission would determine that the installation of a tree, let's say a replacement tree, was unnecessary, that then the shade tree commission would offer the property owner the option
right,
of paying a sum
Yeah.
instead of planting a tree. The amount paid would then be deposited to your account.
okay.
And it was the specifics of it that I think the committee was looking for in terms of, the circumstances under which that option would be given, the amount, what the amount would be, whether that would be in the ordinance, whether it would be authorizing council to set by the fee.
I remember we came up with 450, but I thought that was
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah, I thought so too. And
Yeah, we thought,
because we hashed out whether or not, okay, what happens if that goes up in the, the future, if
Yeah.
that's not sufficient. We talked about, well, basically that we deal with that when it comes up, whether we have to do an amendment.
Yeah, and I think what the committee is looking for, something in writing in the form of like a proposed ordinance or conditions of a proposed ordinance.
Yeah, I thought that was done.
I don't think we ever got that.
Yeah.
It goes back to April and May when we talked about it.
I don't recall ever seeing it.
Well,
Yeah, me
I'll
neither.
go back and look at
Yeah.
some emails to see, 'cause
Well,
I thought
you know.
there was actual verbiage created for that.
Yeah, but I think the changes needed to be made to it, and that's what we were waiting for.
I know we've carried this on the agenda for a while because we never saw maybe your final draft.
We were gonna work with you on it, that's all I know, and I
There
thought.
were issues that came up, and I have to think about it, but it became more complicated than we thought.
May I ask this then? When Craig's done next week, what's today, Wednesday? Can you guys just get together for 15 minutes maybe and thrash something out, or maybe even right after this meeting, kind of pick Craig's mind and just kind of, we need something in writing for the proposed ordinance then? Rather than try and thrash it out here perhaps, just so you can talk through. Look at your emails first and see what's embedded in the emails,
That was already
and then
done.
come back
No.
here the next day or two and do that.
I remember initially, I think you had put something together,
Right.
but I thought
But it-
that,
Yeah, it definitely left question marks though. I don't remember what the specific questions were.
Yeah.
I could look through notes too, but.
but I thought that those question marks, I thought, probably addressed it and resolved it.
Well, maybe you're in, you did, but
Yeah,
I don't think we
obviously,
ever
it
saw.
didn't make it to
I
that,
don't
so
think
it
it
doesn't matter.
got to here, and
Yeah.
we could give it to the solicitor to draft the ordinance and do it, take it the next step.
Right.
Yeah, because then we can get it finalized
Yeah,
and moving,
do
you
it.
know,
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
It's still hanging out.
Instances come up.
Okay, all right.
Well, we'll have to see what I can't, right after this meeting, I have to, but.
I'll look to see what I got too.
You see what you're saying, let's do that as soon as we can,
I mean, you get to it when you get to it. I mean, it's been on the agenda for this
Well,
long.
no, but we
Well,
can do
before
it
Craig
real
gets
quick.
out of here, that's
Yeah.
the issue, because Craig can sort of regenerate those kinds of things.
Back to my notes, it was one of those things that once we started discussing it here, we seems simple, kind of like the traffic trailer ordinance. And
Like
then
almost all
and then they kind of like.
Like government gets in the way.
Trees, yeah, something very simple.
Right, well, if you could move that forward, so I would appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I
Okay,
still
we'll,
have my
we'll
agenda.
move each other and then get to you, Frank.
Thursday or Friday, Reg?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta do it pretty quickly. This Wednesday is.
Okay.
He does those basics all the time too.
Nothing's easy, you know that, come on. I've been lying. It's Halloween, that's right.
Put out fires is all I've been doing.
Thank you. All right, good to see you.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yes,
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas.
When you get to a point where you start exploring for a tree source, if you need any help, somebody can go with you.
I appreciate it. All right, I know where to find you. Thank you.
Thanks, see you later.
So,
Okay. Thank you, Craig.
Well,
Let's take a look at numbers 3 and 4. We have vacancies to fill, and the reappointments are listed there. These are all ones that I've seen this before. This is very helpful.
next week.
Who needs to be reappointed and whose letter we have. So I tried to put all of that in there.
Will we do that at the next GA? Or I guess we could do it, it needs the next.
We can do it now. I
We can
think.
recommend
No, it
it
has to
so
be
that
after
it can
the
be
term
appointed.
expires.
We can't recommend them for them to be appointed? That's right, Craig, isn't
It's after their term expires, then they can be appointed.
You could vote to recommend to council now, and then wait until the first meeting in January to make
Right.
the action.
Well, why don't we do that, then, just so it's done, it's on the agenda.
Tomorrow.
Nancy Reimer, Board of Health, Paul, Shade Tree Commission, Drennan, Shade Tree Commission, Destin, Shade Tree Commission, Nago, Library Board, Archie Slayman, Library Board, Jack Stover, Vacancy Board, Sue Schmidt, Zoning Hearing Board, and Jack Stover also is the general authority, if I remember correctly.
Didn't he send a letter asking for that?
Yes.
Okay. Then I will make a motion with an all-inclusive list of those vacancies for reappointment.
But they probably have to be done individually because they all have different terms for expiration.
Yeah, we don't have the terms right now.
That's what I'm going through right now.
Okay, let's take them one
Well,
at a time.
let's just first talk about it a little bit. I mean, as Craig figures some of those dates out, all of these people are the only people that they're
Roll call.
informed. Yeah. And there's no, issue if Jack would also be appointed to, general authority, correct, to be on another board?
No conflict.
Okay.
Jack is taking, who resigned from the?
Roger.
Roger.
Nancy Reimer, though, that was referred to health and sanitation. Should have been instead of Jen Allen.
And actually, I believe that I remember them because they came over for the interview after, and I think that they were joking about it a little bit because she's been on for quite some time, and I think that they said that they recommended that, so that may already be taken care of. Do you know, Craig? I know you weren't in that,
Yeah,
because we were with
I haven't seen any kind of summary.
Okay, so health and sanitation will be making the recommendation.
I'm pretty sure, does they, I mean, they said it right when they came in, I think.
Oh, I think, yeah, you're right, you're right.
Like they were just talking about it, so.
Okay, so she'll be from health and sanitation.
Right.
Am I correct, or am I making that up in my head?
No,
No, okay.
I'll double check with Brian or
Yeah.
Mark.
Okay, any other?
No, I have no others.
Okay, Craig, do you want to go through and pull the terms on these so you have them for the, well, first of all, do we need a recommendation, do we need a motion to recommend to council? Correct?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, do you want to have the terms first, though, so I guess we can make that as part of the motion.
The hires not being done, Doug Hall, January 1st of 17.
Brennan Fuggers?
Yeah, Brennan, likewise be January 1st, 2017.
Are the other two staggered then?
Then, G. Noggle and Janie Slayman, the library board would both be January 1st of 2015. Jack Stover for the general authority is January 1st of 2017.
Wouldn't he be filling Roger's term?
Ron's term expired.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it is,
Oh,
yeah.
okay, so that works out
Yeah.
good.
And Jack Stover, the vacancy board is a one-year term, that's January 1st, 2013. And Sue Schmidt was on the hearing board, three-year term, that would be January 1st, 2015.
Okay, a motion to recommend?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Okay, second discussion?
Yes, I just, to verify, for Jack Stover, general authority, okay, that's expiring then. Okay, I get it now. We're good.
Okay, discussion? Okay, all those in favor of recommending? We have 3 ayes. But that, what's the first meeting is what, January 2? January 2 or 3? Third.
New Year's Day is Sunday.
January.
So it's
Actually,
closed Monday, so it's a third.
Closed Monday, so January 3.
Because, you know, that meeting has been advertised as well as all the council meetings, but the committee schedule has not been.
Okay.
Right.
Everyone has emailed me,
Okay.
the names. Well, did you, actually, did I get yours? No, I didn't get
No,
yours.
I just like to stay on the same
Okay.
committees and the times are, flexible times.
Yeah,
Meeting
after
at
2.
2 o'clock.
Okay. Yeah, I think you were the only one that did it, so I'll put that on the list. No, I just wanted, so
I
there
didn't
were.
know if I didn't know something.
No, I just wanted to get it done,
You
so that
have
we didn't
those,
have what we
you
didn't have the
his
last time.
names and the terms, please?
Yeah.
Do that in your notes, so we
Yep,
can
I'll
just
put
look
it
at
on,
it then.
I'll have a list of the.
No, because last time we wanted to get anything done, so I was like, let's just get this done.
Anything else with the reappointments, for vacancies? We have Mike Montero in there also, so that we can do right away at the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, Craig, anything else under there, under vacancies, reappointments?
Please go back and go. I guess we still have one, the library board general authority. Will be filled. Right?
Right.
Arts commission will be filled. We need one more person, shade tree commission.
Yep, the library board is taken care of?
No, there's still a vacancy on
Yeah,
the
those are just
library.
reappointments, so it's
Oh.
short.
But there's still a vacancy on there.
I think we should talk to him about being on the special entertainment committee too, because that would give him forum. He could recruit one more young person. Maybe we, besides the summer series, have something.
No, Judy brought that up.
He has passion. I mean, that's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah, oh, yeah.
strictly, it looks like he's mostly interested in the music aspect, and if it's classical, who cares? I mean, it gets the ball rolling,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
gets people involved, youth, whatever.
Anything else there, Leanne, Craig?
I just, I think I want to discuss very briefly, so I can have it in the minutes for next year, is what we talked about, the Special Entertainment Commission. That's set up as a separate commission, standalone commission, the liaison from Parks and Rec Commission. There's discussion at Parks and Rec as to whether or not council would want to bring the Special Entertainment Commission just as part of the Parks and Rec Commission. So it wouldn't be an entirely separate body.
The committee of the Parks and Rec Commission.
Right.
I would say no. I know we haven't had it active other than Joe and Frank taking care of the summer park series. But I see it growing like the Arts Commission with younger people getting involved and start getting some new things going here with the community, that whole progressive thing that this council is gearing towards. And I would feel more comfortable if
was their only function versus a Parks and Rec commission, where they got all kinds of other things on their plate.
Well, I'll say this, actually, that's part of where the discussion is, that you would assume there is a lot of stuff, but there are many meetings that, I mean, from last meeting through, I guess, technically, like the first meeting in January, that's when almost all the work is done, when all the schedules are assigned, and that's the busiest time. Other than that, sometimes it's working on something like the community day, and that would really fall under a special entertainment in a lot of ways, and that's where the discussion traveled from.
I also see it going towards, I mean, most of those people that are on the Parks and Rec Commission are people are on there that they're youth basketball coaches or sports coaches, or most of them are all geared towards the youth programs, most of them. Whereas if it was the Special Entertainment Commission, what I'm focusing on is people that are just strictly the musical aspect of it. And you want people that know about that, have connections, whereas the other ones are mostly the youth sports programs. And I think having somebody specifically involved in the entertainment part, I'm looking more on the musical part, because the arts takes care of the arts part.
Yeah.
I just think it would be better to have people interested in music and trying to get that going. I see that happening. I mean, he looks like he's interested. I don't really know who is the third person on that, Shelley?
Shelley Steiner. Because we had,
I know the name. I probably, if I saw her face, I would know who she is. But
yeah, you've seen her before. She's,
Where did the recommendation of the park, did it come from Park and Rec?
yeah, Cynthia Gibson.
That's
Yeah.
true.
She was previously on. The conversation started to try and get those things moving and have them actually be successful. I thought if the bigger group could also be part of it, is really where it came down to. That it's been the same thing for 20 years with very limited movement. The structure was officially designated last year, or this year, I guess that was earlier this year, wasn't it? But for 20 years, there was really never, even though it was operating in an unofficial capacity, it was assumed that there should be these other members on there, and no one ever stepped forward, no one ever really put any energy into it. So there is some track record there. I mean, I'm fine with giving it more time. I don't think it needs to be done today, but to see if we can get someone on there, and then I think if what you say and having some new people in there, I think it could be very successful. Getting those new people is a challenge.
there's nothing precluding anyone on the Parks and Rec Commission from participating in
Right, we have-
special entertainment. So
Right, we
like,
have Shelley
you could put it
Steiner.
out there and say, if somebody else wants, you need one more person and one more person that's interested. I don't know who recommended that or who said that they wanted to put it in the Parks and Rec. But
It was
maybe
just
they
conversation
join the
of-
commission.
of
If
new people.
If they're interested in joining it, they could just join. Put their name in it.
I think I sort of agree with Brent on this one. When I look at what the Arts Commission does as a
Yeah.
standalone, if you have the right critical mass of
Oh,
people,
yeah.
they can do a great job. But so far, there just hasn't been the right people on that.
Right, yeah, there needs to be, I mean, I think the benefit that the Arts Commission has is that they have some energizers, that they go out, they find people that are gonna be good for these positions, and they keep it going that way. The Special Entertainment Committee has two people that have been focused on what they're doing, but no one else has come along and said, why don't we do this also, or do this also? Yet I think the community does ask for that regularly. I mean, that's something that I've heard
I think
many times.
we try and get Mike involved. I want to stop at his shop and talk to him.
Yeah.
In the next few days here and see if he's interested in putting his name in for that.
And if he knows anyone else.
And if he knows anyone
Yeah.
else. And Frank and Joe certainly have done a great job with the summer concert series, but that's what they're focused on. They're not looking at the
Absolutely.
big picture of the community and so on. I thought we were going to get that with Cynthia and Shelley together, but that just didn't.
Yeah, I mean, they did a good job with or my understanding is that they did with trying to get the snow blast going, which was a ton of time for Arts Commission. They took it on and saw just how much work it was.
Yeah.
So.
All right, well, let that one play out a little bit.
I mean, there's a lot of room for that to go. I mean,
Yeah, there is.
Craig, you brought up like Friday night concerts at the park, you know, for younger people. I think it's a great idea. It's underutilized, that arts pavilion. And I'm sure there's lots of local bands that would love to play there just to get exposure. And you could probably get them for free, if not real cheap, if you just have to have an organization to put it together.
There's a functional aspect of the current setup that makes it not work. And this is said no disrespect to the Saturdays, but you know, their interest and their sole interest on that commission is the summer concert series. And so what happens is, like, when Cynthia and Shelley started working on something, it's like, okay, you two work on this and we'll just do our thing. Which I think is in a way unfair to Shelley. It wasn't fair to Shelley and Cynthia because it's just down to two people who have to carry the entire load. We're trying to develop something that would be brand new. Cynthia's not there anymore. I'm not suggesting this, but I think if there's more discussion, what you can think about is the summer concert series can be run by the SAC bases under the guise of the Parks and Rec Commission. And then if you had people on the commission, then has essentially a committee. They run the summer concert series. You can put bylaws. Summer concert series run by the summer concert series committee of Parks and Rec Commission, and then allow the Parks and Rec Commission as a body to assume what currently responsibility of the Special Entertainment Commission. But I just throw it out there because I think the way it's currently set up, and if the membership remains the same for the foreseeable future, I think it's going to be really discouraging to try to bring a couple people in to really only have buy-in from it. Now have a commission of 3. And if you fill it up, even if people are enthusiastic, do a commission of 3 instead of a commission of 5 in terms of developing an independent process.
Well, and then that's why you heard me ask Mike about being a team player. You've got to be willing to get involved in the other events, and that's not going to happen with the way the structure is.
What are the terms for Joe and Frank right now?
Three-year term
2 years.
expiring
I think that will play itself out.
June of 2013.
Okay. I think that will, I mean, in a year or so, that will play itself out.
I think we just let that sit for right now. I think it's an interesting idea.
What
We
is
have to
the
think about.
Special Entertainment Commission. It's listed in there because they have a fundraising commission, advertising, and everything else.
There's some.
What's that, Leanne?
Okay.
Yeah, I know the special, it's the entertainment committee. Isn't it the bylaws for the committees of the Parks and Rec Commission? It's the entertainment committee.
Is that how it's listed? The entertainment committee is actually in the Parks and Rec handbook
Yeah.
as a subcommittee?
Yeah, entertain,
Along with fundraising and
yes.
advertising?
Yeah, we have,
Okay.
every person has one, so there's 7
Historical,
of them.
financial, yeah.
And, yeah, Shelley Steiner is that, she is then the liaison to the Parks, the Special Entertainment Commission. Just like Jeff, Jeff is actually,
Jeff is liaison to arts.
yeah, but what is his committee then?
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I forget which one he is. He might be fundraiser. No, he's not.
No,
Okay.
Kathy's facilities.
Yeah, yeah.
So the committee and then it's a lead.
Okay, Craig, if you would reflect that in the notes, we would appreciate that, this discussion. Moving forward in the, we have here, was anything else we really acted on today? Craig, looking at these other topics here, and this is your last meeting with us, anything that you want to reflect on and put in the notes that we have for future discussion?
I'm working on some just descriptions of where we are, especially with the staff. Just
our next council meeting?
No, before the first council meeting.
Okay, because that could affect the budget.
Good, I mean, we're paying $2,000 a month right now, and that's what the budget is for next year.
So it could be less, it
So,
could be more.
it could be less, I mean, I don't think it'll be a lot less than 2,000.
Mhm.
It might be a couple of dollars less.
Okay.
Craig, in your absence, will Jeff oversee this then? So he'll do the bid opening and notification to council, so.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, good. What else is on there, Craig, that we need to know about?
Kathy's been, we have to talk to the else from maybe before, with the Dallas data systems and the software upgrade, Kathy's the point person for all scheduling. When they divide up, Dallas divides it up in their own staff between utility billing and then accounts payable, budgeting, and general ledger. So there's going to be one group working with Teresa and Jess, the other group working with Chris to get that one. And that's starting in first week of January.
Thinking of the billing and the question about the reimbursement of the 564, who's knows about that and will make that happen?
That is, Dallas Data Systems already knows that.
Okay.
I sat down and met with Matt Dallas and Javon to go over all the specifics of what we do. Because they configure what they have to our needs.
Okay. Question with that, was that also budgeted for next year, the refund? Okay.
Okay, so who is Christine going to oversee that then? Or you got to make sure that gets into the cycle and just.
The 564.
Yeah.
I'll talk to whoever, it really would be Teresa.
Teresa.
So I'll make sure she knows about it, make sure Dallas remembers.
Right, right. If you would, please, so make sure that happens as soon as possible. Anything else?
Just preparing update memos for incoming managers so they can come and read up on stuff that's pending. I think the memos from the committee meetings actually will be very helpful.
Mhm.
Whoever comes in.
Yeah.
Um,
We'll catch up right away.
At least gives the opportunity, they put some time into reviewing them. So, it should be fun.
Questions from the committee for Craig? Anything you see
Yeah,
before you leave?
Seems like years, and I know it's at least 2 or 3 months for the Weeder Lane is, with the letters going out. I know it's 3 council meetings now that we decided that we were gonna send letters.
Right.
And I just wanna know where we're at. I know, I mean, we were looking at getting a list from Jeff. I mean, how many, it's like 4, 5 at the most, property owners?
Paul came in yesterday and had the addresses and the Jim had gone out and checked it out. And I just told her to check the website for Lake County, see the owners are, so it should go out the next day or two. But
What? I thought we were gonna, did we review a letter that was going out? I thought it was coming to the committee for us to review. I specifically requested that.
Was it to this one or to Public Works?
I don't remember actually, but I think we wanted to review the letter.
It needs more often.
I'll run a copy of it off right now.
Yeah, that'd be, I
I'll
would,
print it off real quick. Kathy, bring it up.
I just would like to see how it's worded.
Yeah, that's what else do we have on here that we need to deal with before Craig? Anything else you want to know? Community contract?
The only other item that we authorized was the advertising for solicitor,
Correct.
and I haven't seen that.
Let's ask about that, see what that is.
I thought of this RFP, what's the actual RFP stand for again?
Request for proposal.
Right. I think that's a question we should ask in our interviews. Have you put them together, you know, which one have you done, you know, insurance, whatever. I think that's important to know if they know how to do that.
Sure.
We've had it for a while, electricity, we had it, the boroughs,
Yeah.
we're trying to do more of them because we would like to obviously bring our costs down. So I think that's an important part if somebody knows how to properly do that.
Well, why don't you throw that in with your grant writing question that you asked?
Okay.
That's a natural
Kathy's trying to fix the mailing machine.
But
Here's the.
is this an executive session item or
Yeah,
not?
actually, yeah, if we're gonna review this, sorry.
Legal issues.